This story is from college. It was when the college kept accusing me of cheating. And I don't know how anyone experienced that, but to go through college the full term and to be accused of cheating right up to the very last test is stressful, frustrating. They calling me out in class in front of all the students. You are a cheater. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to ban you from going to any college in America because no college wants a cheater. You know, this happened for 3 years. And one time, when I started making all A's, it got really bad. To give you an example, here come one instant. We in class. They started calling out tests to embarrass me, to make me quit school. Because my grade was the lowest. You know what I mean? So they were calling out grades, and they always got to me, they say D, F, or they'll say 68 in their class, 67 in their class, 59, and everybody go to laughing because everybody else was up in the 80s to 100. But that still didn't embarrass me. Didn't embarrass me. You know what I mean? But now we went to another semester, and now it's down to the nitty gritty. So I started teaching myself how to read before I got to that first year, second semester. So now I'm in mechanic, and I'm making A's and B's, right? The teacher frustrated. He talking to me in front of the whole class. He's standing in front of me, looking me in my eyes, saying, we know you cheating. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. Because you're an embarrassment to your family and the program and the college. And once we catch you, you will never be in another golf program again. You know, and I'm just sitting there. You know, I'm just an 18, 19-year-old kid. You know what? Goddamn. Man, why you pointing me out of class? It's 40 white people in here. And the sad part was, everybody in class knew who all the cheater was. I couldn't even hardly afford a goddamn telephone call for a quarter. How I'm afford to buy all the tests for all 3 years? Guys have showed me, hey man, just look at these tests in your grade work. No, I won't look at no tests. I was making decent evidence because I wanted to be a golf course superintendent on my own. I didn't want no one to help me. If I would have graduated with a D average, I would have been happy. You know what I mean? But I think that's impossible. There's no such thing as graduating with a D average. But just if you could, I'd be happy because I earned it. So anyway, one day in class, then when I started teaching myself how to read, I think I got out to about third grade level because that was mechanic is. The reading material is like second and third grade level, something like that. You know, so it's just like with typing, it was second and third grade level. So I'm making all A's and B's. I'm happy. I feel like a normal kid now. I feel like one of the guys, you know, I'm a student. I'm making A's and B's. The guy called out my grade, and he was angry, tears in his eyes. He said, you need to quit college. We know you cheating, son, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Nobody go from first grade level to making all A's and B's from D's and F. Oh, Lord. Oh, man, my heart dropped down to my stomach. Nobody in class knew I was first grade reading until that man opened up his mouth. You know, so everybody looking at me laughing. Everybody talking behind my back in every class, whispering and laughing, making jokes, you know. And I couldn't take it no more. So the next time we went to class, the guy called out grades. I had 100. He stood in front of me, handed me my 100 in front of the whole class, and he went at me again about cheating. The whole class laughing. I couldn't take it no more. I got up, ran out of class. And this was an early morning class, like 8 o'clock, and I ran out of class. I went to my little spot in the Pear Meadows, and I just fell asleep crying. And I woke up like 9 o'clock that night. And I'm scared because I can't see nothing. And I'm like, oh Lord, where my books? Where my stuff at? And I went to my dorm room about 9 o'clock. You know, my roommate say, Doom, where you been? Where you been? You know, like, man, I just chilling, man. I was just chilling, you know. Go to class the next day. Took a test. Next thing I know, after class, the same teacher say you need to stay after class. Me and Mr. Cheeseman need to talk to you. You know, Mr. Cheeseman, the director of golf, he called the shots. He's the last word. So they talk to me and they say, we don't think you're going to get a job as a golf course superintendent because you black. They'll make it easier on you because they are never going to accept a black superintendent at any of these country clubs. And if they do, they would just be using you to save money until they can get a real superintendent and to get their greens and golf course redone. So we think it would be better for you to be behind the scenes. Now we willing to give you a golf course mechanic certificate. You know, everybody get one of them their first year. We will give you a golf course superintendent, a mechanic certificate if you sign these papers to quit college. You know, and I looked at them. I said, well, I don't want to be no mechanic. I want to be a golf course superintendent or a golf course manager. And the mechanic guy got mad. He said, God damn it, son, you is too dumb to pass this program. What part of that you don't understand? This the closest thing you ever gonna get to a degree. You first grade reader was crying out loud, son. Don't make this mistake. Get this certificate. And then my idol, Mr. Cheeseman, who I always looked up to, who I thought it was an honor to be in his program, I'm thinking he gonna take up for me. And he said, sign the paper, son. Make your daddy proud of you and your mama. Because Mr. Fred say, it ain't no way you gonna pass the class. So you don't pass the class, you don't even get a certificate. And you get kicked out of the golf program. You ain't even made it to the golf program yet. You got to pass mechanic to get inside of the golf program. So do yourself a favor, son. We love you. Sign the paper. And you can be Mr. Fred's assistant as long as it takes you to learn to be a mechanic. And you can stay until you're comfortable so you can go on any golf course. And you can make up to $50,000, son. And you behind the scenes. No golfer will ever see you. None of the members will ever see you. That's why we think the mechanic is the best route for you to take. Because you will never be seen by the member or any golfer. It's a behind the scene type of job. And I'm listening, and it kind of sound good, and it's true. Because I done met my dad mechanic. He done had 4 mechanics when I was growing up, and they all like their job. They love it. You know, one of them stayed there for about 30 something years. The other one retired from it, and the other one, he stayed there a good 10 years, and it just was a nice job being a mechanic because you ain't had to deal with everyday BS. You know what I mean? The mechanic is the higher paid, second higher paid on a golf course, and the quietest. They don't never have to talk. You know what I mean? They don't have to go to meetings and blah 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 blah. They don't get questioned like the superintendent who get headaches and cuss out at all the time. But I told them, and I told them both, I don't know why God chose me. I don't know why God picked me, but I have been told that this is my calling by angels. I said, now y'all ain't got to believe it. I'm just telling y'all. Angels have told me this is part of my calling. The mechanic, he bite his tongue. The director just got frustrated and left. And the mechanic told me it will be a cold day in hell before you pass the program, son. You about one of the stupidest kids I ever met. Take the certificate. You're not going to pass this program. As I walked away. You know what I mean? So I go in the paramedics again. And I cried all day. God, why can't I read like the rest of the kids? Why I got to be a dummy? Why you even put me in this situation? Why, God? Why do you hate me, man? Why? And then, I passed that semester barely with a C, But I know I had to learn how to read because the second and third year is the hardest. So my buddy learned how to read. All of a sudden, his friend girl learned how to study. Next thing I know, I'm making all A's. I couldn't believe it. All A's. Every once in a while a B. And the teacher's telling me, we know you cheating. We're going to find out how you cheating. We changed all the tests. So anybody who grades go down, we know they are the one cheating, and we're going to kick them out the program. That's a promise. Looking me in my face. Standing in front of me, in front of the whole class. But now I know I'm an A student. So I look at them with confidence. I said, when you change the test, use my paper as a checking guide. Boy, he got mad and frustrated and kicked us all out of class. You know what I mean? Now everybody talking, everybody scared, especially the cheater, because they know it's all new tests. They still calling our grade. After we take the new test, stubs, A plus, everybody shocked. All other 30 students, the 30 student, their grade dropped from A's and B's to C minuses. But 10 students, or maybe 7, their grade still was high. But they won 100 no more now. I'm the only one making 100. Go to the next class. They call out the grades. David Stubbs, 100. Everybody else grade, boom, they drop a notch. Next class, same thing. Next class, same thing. Next class, same thing. So one day I'm sitting in the class, all of us, they call out grade. David Stubbs, 100. The teacher walked up to me, son, I don't know what you doing or how you making all the A's and we didn't change your test, but the word is among the teacher, you stole the key to the safe out of the teacher lounge and stole all the tests and Xeroxes and blah 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 blah. So we gonna get a new safe with a combination so you can't get in them tests. And I'm like, man, I don't even know where the teacher lounge at. And everybody went to laughing, and they changed the test again. The same thing. I'm making all A's. Rest of the class, grade drop, except there may be 6 or 7 people. So they let it go, and they told me, if we ever catch you, we don't know how you doing it. And then a mechanic teacher say, I think you is going to the people who grades our paper, and you either threatening them or you getting them a payoff. And I say, man, I can't even got a quarter to use the damn telephone. I got to fight your cousins every weekend just to get some built-in oodles and noodles to eat. And everybody busts out to laughing because they know when I say your cousin, the Ku Klux Klan. And the reason I said that, he was the main teacher, kept coming up to me, telling me I better run. He'll buy me a bus ticket. The Klan gonna kill me. Them boys are dangerous. They dangerous. And I would tell him, well, that probably the only way they can beat me is to shoot me. Because I'm damn sure whooping their butts. And he get mad and walk off in frustration and say, I hope they kill you, But anyway, this went on the whole while I was in college. And now we to the 3rd year. Boy, I'm still making all A pluses and A minuses. We get to the last class, which is the hardest class. People talk about this class for 3 whole years. It eliminated more guys than any other class from making their dream come true. And they say he just had like a 75% passing rate. If you don't make all A's and B's, you ain't finna pass that man class, right? Midterm, I think I made a A minus, right? He ain't mess with me. Or maybe I made a B. But in his class, a B is victory. So we get down to the finals. We go to the veteran hospital where they got every plant in Florida just about. And he point at the plant. You write the American name, the Latin name. I think it was 100 questions, right? And he had like a couple of questions for bonus questions. So maybe you can bring your C into a B or your B into an A, right? So now we finish the test. When he call out your name, you get the test and you leave. You never got to come to this class again. They're over with. We graduating. He get to my name. He say, David Stubbs, 107. I think it was in the 100, higher than 100. But he wouldn't give me my test. And he said, go sit down. I need to talk to you after class. So I'm sitting down. You can't imagine what's going on in my head, right? I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm about to pee. I'm about to doodle on myself. I'm just scared. Because this is the toughest teacher in the golf program. And he used to check before a test, he checked my arms to see that I got right on my arms. He pat me down like a police officer. He tell me to stand up. He pat me down to make sure I ain't got no cheat sheets. And while the whole class laughed, and I didn't mind because I'm black. And I know that's what we got to go through. You get what I'm saying? Because they already accusing me of cheating. He the main one. Matter of fact, when I got to his class, he said, I'm not like them other teachers. You ain't going to cheat in my class. That don't work with me. So you might as well walk out right now and never come back. That's what he told me. So now everybody gone. He come to me and he say, you cheated. I say, man, I ain't cheating your class, man. I ain't cheat. He say, you cheated. You were looking over somebody's bike over every answer. In no way you can pass my program. In no way you can make 100 on my final. I have had professors to fail my finals. I'm going to take this paper to the dean of students, and you're going to take the test in front of him and me. And I say, bro, I ain't retaking the test. If we're going to go in front of the dean, let go now, sir. Let go now, while my mind is fresh. Because I'm not going to study no more. I've been studying 24 hours a day for 7 to 8 days, sir. I'm not going to do it no more. He said, I tell you what, take an oral test right now, you and me. And I don't think nobody can pass that. I said, well, do what you got to do. Point. Remember, I got to write the American name and a Latin name. And I don't remember them exactly. It been 40 years ago. He pointed at that. I said, electrica decorum. Wrote it down. So-and-so plant. American name. He pointed at the graph. Stenotapor secundatum. Latin name. I write it down. St. Augustine. Write it down. Pointed at something else. Pars pollinotatum secundatum. I write it down. Cow pasture grass. Behavior. Write it down. Point at another plant. Pinna electrica decora. Another plant. Ligustrum japonica variegator. Point at another plant. Pittsburgh tubaria. Point at another plant. I'm just writing it down. Writing it down. Writing it down. Writing it down. It went on for about an hour. Then he tested the paper. And this when I know he wasn't racist. He walked up to me, handed me my paper, and you can see a light shining upon him, a glow. And he say, I have never saw nothing like that in my life. You got to be the most improved student in college history, son. You are the real deal. You are a superintendent. And he shook my hand, and I wanted to cry. Because now I done made the hardest teacher a believer. I go back to the dorm, and all the students say, hey man, if you want us to go with you to report him, man, we'll go. If you want to report him to somebody, the president or the dean of student, and you know, I'm like, you can't report him to the dean because he done tried to kick me out of college 3 or 4 times. I don't want to go him. And they say, man, you the greatest, man. You had to take 2 finals. We never saw that in our life. Because of that, bud, all drinks on us today. And they brought me at least so much beer and liquor just for me now. And they put it in my room and called me to drink in their room all day. You know what I mean? And like the whole wing celebrated. Because everybody was happy. And I did the impossible because nobody thought I was going to graduate. You know what I mean? And I graduated with honor. I would have had honor if I think the mechanic people would have gave me the right grade, and the typing teacher, called the typing teacher, turned my A plus into a D and say she had to meet her quota. And the director, Mr. Cheever, and the dean of student agreed to it. They say, we know you made a A plus, but by the time she got to you, because your name got an S in it, your last name, all the A plus were gone, all the A minuses were gone, all the B plus were gone, and all the C pluses were gone. So everybody after you had to get D's. But everybody in my class with S's had A's, and they didn't even show up to the typing class. Nobody showed up to the typing class but 7 people. The other people came the midterm and the final. I passed all the tests in the middle. It was like we had a test a week, a mini quiz, I mean. I passed all of them. I made a A on a midterm, a A plus on the finals, and got a D. If it weren't for that, I would have graduated with a 3.0. But I graduated with a 2.8. So I was happy with that. Thank you. And that is how I graduated from college and made the toughest teacher in the golf program the proudest. You can get my book at davidjstubb.com. Thanks for listening. God bless.